Children, looking at the features of the democratic government, we feel that democratic government is one of the best government. Yes, but we see there are many arguments given against democracy. So let us look into what are the arguments that are given against democracy. That means the demerits of democracy. Now, the first thing that I need to tell you is that democracy doesn't have any magical wand that will solve all the problems. It also has its drawbacks. So let us look into what are the drawbacks. You know, in democracy, elections are held after every 5 years or 6 years, and the leaders keep changing. And if it's, as you have seen in our country also, started with Jawaharlal Nehru and today we have Modi ji. So leaders keep changing after every election. So this leads to instability. One leader will come and do something, the next leader will come and do something else. So that leads to instability. And also when there are multi-party system, it leads to political competition also. Each one wants to outdo the others. They give false promises. Yes, so they have no morality, no moral values. They only give promises that when we come to power we'll do this and we'll do that, but they don't keep up to that power. Okay. And in a democracy, it's not that one person takes a decision. The decision is taken by a group of people. So unless everyone agrees, then only things are passed. So this leads to too much of delay in anything to become a law in a country and to be passed. So lots of delays are there. And at times also bad decisions are taken in spite of consulting each other. Okay, and as you know, in when the elections takes place, a lot of corruption also takes place. Each one wants to win the election, so what do? They bribe the people. They tell them we'll give you so much of money, or we'll give you a color television, or we'll give you vessels, or we will make your houses, we'll make toilets for you, you give us votes. So that leads to corruption. And the ordinary people of our country, yes, they are not so educated, so they do not know what is best for the country, what is good for the country. They cannot decide anything. So these are some of the demerits of democracy. So let's look into it. It's given in this I have drawn a flow chart to tell you the arguments that are against democracy. First, leads to instability due to frequent leader change, because every 5 years we have elections and leaders keep changing. Delays happen due to constant consultancy, because we have to, in a democracy, a group of people decide something, so it takes time for the decision, and sometimes that decision is a bad decision. Then leads to corruption also, because when the parties compete in an election, they bribe people for their votes. Okay, so it leads to corruption. And it's not only about competition, but no scope for morality. People give false promise to the people. Okay, they tell them when we come to power we'll do this. Once they come to power, they forget about it. So they don't have any moral values. And in our country, ordinary people, they do not know what's good for the country. They're unable to take decisions and choose the right representatives. So these are some of the arguments which are against democracy. So after reading all these arguments, democracy doesn't seem to be an ideal form of government, but it is not so. We must look into the merits of democracy. Children, let us look into the merits of democracy, the good points of democracy. Let us do the first one. A democratic government is a better government because it is more accountable form of government. Now I'll give you an example here. Children, I told you that a democratic government is a better government because it is more accountable form of government. Now let us take an example for that. Now China suffered one of its worst famines in between 1958 to 1961, and nearly 3 crore people died in this famine. Whereas in India also we had food shortage. Yes, there was scarcity of food, but the way we have dealt with our government policies were different from China. Okay, why or how are they different? Children, in India we have an opposition party which criticizes the government for their wrong action. We have a free press which keeps telling the people of what is wrong in the country. So it keeps the government on its toes. Whereas that is not the case in China. Okay, China is ruled by a communist party and no one can criticize the government. So our country took a proper decision and said yes, everyone must get food security in our country. They responded to this and made sure that food was available to us, whereas nothing of that kind happened in China. So the people were left on their own and about 3 crore people died. So you see, our country is more accountable to the people. It's a more accountable form of government. They do not bother about their people. Okay? Children, let's go to the next merit of a democratic government and see democracy improves the quality of decision making. Now, how does this happen? Now, you can see in a democratic country, no one person decides anything. It is a group of people, yes, who decide on a certain thing, okay, take decisions for the entire country. So based on consultations and discussions and debates, the people collectively take a decision, and once this decision is taken, it reduces the possibility of any irresponsible decision or bad decision. That becomes, the possibility of a bad decision becomes less, although it may happen, but it is much less. So when collectively things are decided, it improves the quality of decision making. So this is our second merit of democracy. As I told you, it improves the quality of decision making. The first one was, it is more accountable. I gave you the example of the famine that happened in China and the decision taken by the Chinese government and Indian government. And now we have seen in a democracy, the quality of decision making is more important because the collective people jointly agree on a certain things. Whereas in China, it is like a dictator. One person takes the decision. Merit of democracy is that it provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts. Now, you know, children, differences are bound to take place in a society where we have people belonging to different various caste, religion. As you know, our country is so diverse, but yet we all live together peacefully, yes? And it generally happens that people belonging to different religions and castes have their own interest and own preference of one group, and one group may clash with another group. So a majority group may dictate terms and force their decisions on the minority group. This may lead to discontentment and resentment among the people. But this democratic form of government provides us a peaceful solution, that we all sit together and we take a decision which is in favor of both. Mutual consent is taken, both agree to a situation and solve the problem. So this form of government has a way of dealing with whatever differences and conflicts that are there in the society. We can deal with it and come with a peaceful solution which is agreed by all in the country. So children, the next merit of democracy is that democracy enhances the dignity of citizens. Now, how does it do it? Yes, we all have political equality in a democracy. That means everyone is equal before law and everyone has the right to vote, irrespective of their gender, of their economic status, caste, religion, language, place of birth. We all have the right and we are treated equally. We have political equality. Okay, so that's another feature, merit of democracy, that it enhances the dignity of citizens. So everyone plays a part in the formation of government in a democracy. Children, the final merit of democracy is that it is better than other forms of government because it allows us to correct its own mistakes. Now, there are possibilities of taking wrong decisions. A leader may take wrong decisions, okay, but there is always space for discussion and debates, and the mistakes done by the government cannot be hidden because through free press and media we come to know about all this, and through opposition party we come to know about whatever mistake the government is hidden. And if the leaders do not change the incorrect decision, then what happens? if they do not change their they will not be elected next time when the elections are take place. They will not win the elections. So these leaders then have to take correct decisions in accordance to the welfare of the people of the country. Okay, so we have seen all the merits of democracy. So children, let us recap all the arguments which are given for democracy. We'll see it is more accountable to the citizen. I gave you the example of famine, that it improves the quality of decision making, yes, and it provides a method to deal with the differences. It enhances the dignity of citizens. We have got political equality, and it allows the citizens to correct their own mistake, allows the government to correct its own mistakes also. Okay, so these are some of the merits. So finally we feel democracy is the best government, isn't it? So children, we can say that democracy is the best form of government because here the people vote to elect their leaders, and then these leaders, elected representatives, leaders, will form the government and take decisions in for the welfare of the people. Okay, and it is a group of people, it is not one person who is taking the decision. So we can finally conclude the chapter saying yes, democracy is the best form of government rather than other non-democratic forms of government.